to another shared news from home. We are live today to talk all the latest in Bachelor Nation. As always, I am your host, Fiona Zaring, and I'm joined by the wonderful Mariah Davis. Mariah, happy Monday. How are you?
Doing very good this Monday. As far as Mondays go, we've had some nice weather here in Oklahoma. So we had a little bit of rain, so it started the week off on a high note.
Ah, I love that. It has been so hot here in LA, so I am jealous. I love it. As always, Mariah, it is like 5 minutes into the week, and we already have quite a few Bachelor Nation updates. So let's just kick things off with the latest update on the Colton Underwood situation. After sharing his truth on Good Morning America in a powerful interview, sources quickly started reporting that he had a new reality series in the works with Netflix. The reports are saying it is currently in production and it is, we don't have a lot of details, but is reportedly going to focus on Colton living his life publicly as a gay man. Since that news first broke, of course, many people have shared their opinion online. Some, of course, all for it, and others not so much. As the conversation has continued, a petition to actually cancel the series before it even begins has been launched online. It is a change.org petition and actually has over 21,000 signatures as of right now before we went live today. And it exclusively critiques Colton's treatment of his ex. So the petition takes issue specifically with what went down between him and Cassie Randolph and is very clear to not take any issue with the fact that Colton has come out to the world and shared his story. Of course, if you're not familiar with the Cassie Colton drama, back in 2020, Cassie was actually granted a restraining order against Colton. She did later drop it. At the time, they basically announced that they came to a private agreement, but some serious allegations were made and obviously some pretty severe steps were taken. Let me read you the lingo of this petition. It basically says, quote, Colton is a former Bachelor lead who stalked his final pick, Cassie Randolph. He placed a tracker on her car, sent her and her friends anonymous, threatening texts, and was even seen standing outside her window extremely late in the night, resulting in her brother attempting to de-escalate the situation. It continues saying, Cassie is a victim of Colton's abuse, and he does not deserve a platform in any way. Regardless of his sexuality, Colton should not be given a platform as a result of his abusive, manipulative, and dangerous behavior. So this has been an ongoing conversation here on Shared News, of course, as well, since this has all broke. What are your thoughts on this, Mariah?
It's hard for me to not agree with everything that's being said because obviously a restraining order for things to escalate to that degree, that's something I take up very, very seriously, as does most of the world, because it's awful to escalate to that degree to where somebody no longer feels safe. That is a form of abuse in my book, as well as many other books. It's hard to say. I don't think Colton is, irredeemable by any means. I don't think that because he's made mistakes in the past, he is unworthy of happiness and or success. But I do agree that having this large of a platform is a privilege, and it shouldn't be given to someone who has really broken the trust of not only someone that he definitely owed it to, but to people who really admired him and casted him in a really good light. Not to mention, I think we all were kind of hoping for a better atonement when kind of talking about the Cassie situation and the restraining order on Good Morning America. I feel like he really undersold it, and I don't think that it's fair to somewhat justify his actions by saying he was in such a dark time and he wished things would have happened differently. Obviously, I'm sure Cassie would have wished she wasn't stalked. I'm sure she would have wished she wasn't ever felt, like she was in danger. So I do have some strong opinions about this. Again, I don't think he is irredeemable. I don't think he's unworthy of happiness. And I do think that it is fabulous that at any point of anybody's life, they finally feel like they have the freedom to be themselves and they are comfortable and confident with sharing that. So I applaud him for that. That was not an easy journey, I'm sure. But I gotta say, I'm with the part of the population that does not think he should be given this platform. I think it would be an amazing show and I would watch it, but I'd love to watch it with someone else starring in it.
Yeah, honestly, Mariah, I couldn't have said that better myself. I feel like throughout all of the headlines that have come out about this, watching the interview, all of it, I always kind of come back to a very similar place that you did, which is at the end of the day, there were very serious accusations made. And the one thing that's been missing for me, even if it wasn't going to happen in the Good Morning America interview in that moment where he was sharing his truth, I'm with you. A little bit more atonement is the perfect word for what was some very serious actions would make it a little easier for someone, like me who, has read a lot about, has been really up on what happened between him and Cassie. It was very serious what went down. So it's hard for us to just blank, move on and be like, all right, let's get the popcorn. There's a new show. Because you want to definitely make sure that you stay true to, what Cassie went through and all of this as well. So I'm definitely with you. I think we're going to be talking about this for some time, to be honest with you. I feel like if I'm, it's rumored that this would be happening at Netflix, right? If I'm Netflix, there's a business, standpoint of this to consider as well. Right now, people who may have been otherwise inclined to tune into something like this, we're not feeling the love, right? We're not ready necessarily. We need a little more. We need some understanding. Even if what happened, even if something wonderful has happened to help them move on behind closed doors, as an audience member, all I know is what I know, right? We know the facts. Right. We know that there was a restraining order. And as happy, like you said, as happy and as wonderful as it is that he came forward, is living in his truth now, that's a beautiful thing. It's just that final connector to being willing to sit down in front of a TV again and watch it all on Netflix. So it's going to be really interesting, you guys. I think we're probably going to hear more. This hasn't even, unless I've missed a headline somewhere, we haven't even gotten like the official green light confirmation show announcement. Right now, this is all sourced. And those sources are saying they're in production. So it's going to be interesting to see what updates we get and if he does another interview in the near future, if we learn more about what's been going on. In the meantime, you guys, we want to know what you think. Obviously, since Colton's Good Morning America interview, there's been a lot of conversations, a lot of discussions, and there are a lot of opinions. So let us know, of course, what you think of all of this. And you guys, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell, because we're going to do our best to keep you updated on all things Bachelor Nation. And if you ring the bell, you'll know when we go live, which is a win-win for everyone. All right, obviously, we're talking about Cassie. A lot of people have been waiting to hear from Cassie since this news broke. A lot of diehard fans obviously have been thinking of her and wondering how she's doing throughout all of this. She's actually currently on vacation. She's living her best life. She's in Mexico with friends and family, and she did share now a brief statement thanking fans for their kind comments and messages on her Instagram story. She also shared that she was taking a week off from YouTube. She said, quote, "Some of you are asking about my YouTube for this week. I decided to take the week off, but I will have one again next week." So we will be getting a YouTube video from her in the near future. The question is, of course, is it going to be her usual content, or is she going to, release more of a sit down talking about everything that has unfolded? We don't know. She hasn't given any clues one way or the other in that direction yet. What do you think of this statement, Mariah? It's very simple. It's short. It's to the point, but it at least showed a little something, right? It's a message after we've been waiting, in silence. What do you think?
Yeah, her saying I decided to take the week off and then happening to be on vacation makes me think, was this a spur of the moment vacation? Wow, there's a lot going on right now. I got to get the heck out of here, which, in that case, I totally understand. I would love to hear Cassie speak on this, but I do feel like she's always kept it very classy and very private. So we don't know the ins and outs of all how ugly things got. Sure, they do have they reached a private agreement, and that is less messy than taking someone to court and, really fulfilling this restraining order, but it doesn't mean that it was still pretty by any means. So I would imagine, if I try and put myself in her shoes, and I think this happened to me And because I consider stalking and those types of text messages, blowing someone up, a form of abuse. If that was me, and then my ex-boyfriend, who, I don't know if there's any beef there. I would imagine there hasn't really been any healing. I mean, this only happened last fall. Let me remind everybody, it's still very fresh. I would imagine that I would feel like the world was accepting a version of somebody that I didn't believe to be the truest version. So I don't know. If she is on vacation and she decided to take the week off from her channel, then I bet she just wanted to take a break from social media. Because again, as much as I want to hear something from her, I bet everyone is wanting to hear something from her, and she just is wanting to be done with it and put it down.
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, the one thing that I've been thinking of from the get-go here is there's not only interest in what she has to say, but if I were her, I would feel a lot of pressure, right? Because not only is this something that you're processing in real time, I mean, we're getting source reports that she didn't have any advance notice of what the Good Morning America interview was going to be, which would mean that she's processing this in real time with everybody else. Obviously, there was a lot of work done to distance herself from Colton at the end of their relationship for a multitude of reasons. So it just sort of feels like if I was Cassie, I would not only want to take time to process it, figure out how I feel, and then once she's there, there's a lot of pressure, right? If she's going to say much more than thank you for your, kind messages, etc., she wants to, I'm assuming, say the right thing, say something once, and then have that be it, be conclusive, be the end of the story. So yeah, again, this is another one, you guys, where I feel like we're gonna have to just keep our eyes open and see what comes up. And my gut tells me we're probably gonna hear something, right? Because the longer we don't hear something, I think the more people are gonna want it, the more questions there's gonna be, the more hopes, the more potential for sources to put out quotes that aren't exactly, exactly what she wants to be put out there, I guess. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully we do hear something from her in the future. And hopefully she is doing well on vacation and feeling good. You guys, do you think we will be hearing from Cassie in a more, specific, direct, talking about the situation kind of way? Let us know in the chat. And of course, if you have any questions, comments, send them our way in there as well. At the end of the stream, we're going to try to get to as many of your questions, comments we possibly can. So get to sending now, and we will try to get an answer to you in just a little bit. Let's move on from Colton and Cassie, because honestly, we really could dedicate an entire stream to them. There is a lot to unpack there. But like I said, there's a lot of news in Bachelor Nation, so we got to pivot. We got some more to talk about. Peter Weber is back again, Mariah. You and I feel like we always have something to talk about on the Peter front. He just stopped by the Here for the Right Reasons podcast, and he said he is not convinced that he truly holds the title for the Bachelor who has kissed the most contestants. You guys, if we're thinking back to his season, it certainly seems like he did quite a bit of making out during his time on the show. Actually went in detail as to why he doesn't necessarily believe that he is the Bachelor with the most kisses on his record. We do have a clip for you. We're going to have our wonderful producer get that ready so you guys can hear exactly what he had to say in his own words, because he actually had a little bit of interesting behind-the-scenes Bachelor tea as well.
I just played ball a little bit too much with the producers, but literally, you don't see us off camera, so many times I was being given this the entire time. They wanted that. They literally were asking for that. And hey, if I was feeling it, the girl, I was gonna go in for it.
So you guys, what he's saying there, to be clear, first of all, we'll get into he doesn't necessarily think he kissed the most in a second, but he's basically saying that off-camera producers have a signal, a designated signal for when they're hoping the lead will go in for a kiss with the contestant. The reason he thinks he, actually doesn't hold that title is because he feels like with the way his edit went, they included all of his night one kisses, a lot of kisses across the board that don't usually make the cut for other leads. So while he's not sold on that number, I certainly look back on that season. There was a lot of action going on. What do you make of this hand signal, Mariah? Because it does make sense to me, but to think that there is a hand signal going on behind the scenes to engineer some of those moments, it's a little interesting. It's a little shocking, if you will.
From now on, anytime I'm watching The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, or even Bachelor in Paradise, if people kiss, I'm gonna wonder is if there's someone behind the curtain, like enforcing the kiss, kind of a puppet master, if you will. Which I feel like we referred to producers as being puppet masters before on this show. So it is interesting to hear, and now it's like I can't unknow it. I'm always going to wonder if a kiss was like genuine in the moment because they were just really feeling each other, or if it was like it was a suggestion made by the producers and then they carried it out.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm thinking back to, honestly, Mr. Matt James, loved his season, thought he was a great bachelor, no complaints. But I always, like, every few episodes would be like, wow, that kiss was kind of abrupt. And I kind of just felt like it was the moment or the way they edited the timing or something. But you'll sometimes see, I feel like, two people sitting in a hot tub talking about nothing. All of a sudden, they're kissing. So it definitely feels like this could be a signal, something that is in place, not, of course, just in Peter's season, but across the board in the show. I definitely agree with you there. At the end of the day, I think it's interesting if we hone in on the phrasing, like, he thinks he played ball with producers a little bit more, because there's always going to be a really unique relationship between the lead and the producers. Kind of got into how it'll start off. Maybe they're holding names up for you on the first night, just so you can keep everybody straight. Then those, cues end up having a little more suggestions. The next thing you know, you've got a hand signal for kissing. So depending on how much trust a lead is going to put in with their relationships with the producer, I think it really could affect the season, right? How many of those off-camera signals are you taking? How many decisions are you making for yourself? It's got to vary person to person.
Oh, for sure. I think we had talked in another video, like there has to be that level of trust. And how unfortunate would it be if you as a lead didn't really vibe with your producer, you didn't get along, you didn't feel like they had your best interest at heart. I think in Peter's case, honestly, I think it sounds like he did. And that's why, he played ball with them. He just kind of like took more of their suggestions. I'm speaking and it's not sounding very good, than like other bachelors or bachelorettes in the past. So maybe we've been too hard on Peter. Maybe he isn't, or he was wrongly labeled the bachelor who kissed the most contestants. Maybe we just didn't see it in the past, but still very interesting to know that this is where the magic happens right here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've talked about this a lot. Peter was definitely not our most smooth sailing bachelor. I think he definitely struggled with the decision-making process a little bit there, right? And so to me, someone like Peter, who strikes me as an indecisive personality, I could totally see a lead like that leading into some of the, okay, I think I want to do this, and that person over there is telling me I should do this, so I'm going to do this, right? Like kind of taking those suggestions with more of a grain of salt. We have ragged on Peter a lot. We love to tease him. I love to, I try my best to say it all with love, but he definitely took us on a journey on his season. And I think it's a fair question. Does he have any regrets, right? He broke some hearts at the end, obviously went on to pursue a relationship with Kelly, who he eliminated early on. Like, does he wish he could go back and change anything? And in this latest interview, he says he doesn't. He explained that was just me in the moment, making the decisions I thought were the best in the moment, trying to follow my heart, be true to myself, even though it seems like a little messy or whatnot. It is so much going on. I don't regret it because I was doing what I thought I should be doing. So basically, he's happy. Everything happens for a reason. It got him to where he is today. He did add, though, that he wishes he could have saved everyone that did get hurt in the process, because obviously for him to go on this journey authentically, exactly, who he was in the moment, they ended up breaking some hearts, which is tough. But I do think it's great that he looks back on that time having no regrets, because let's face it, he's a public figure now. He's a former bachelor. There's going to be a lot of interest in, all of his relationships in the near future, as long as he stays in the public eye. So it's good to hear that he's in a good place.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you can't live in regret. What are you going to do about it at this point? You know what I mean? And I think despite having the opinions I've had about Peter, for everyone who's listening, I don't think Peter's a bad guy. He just wasn't. He was just not my favorite bachelor. And he had a very interesting season that was just, again, not my favorite. But I do have a lot of respect for him for just saying, like, I think I did the best that I could. I did what I thought was right. And, I really appreciate that, because that's all you can do in that position. I'm sure there's no manual on how to be the best bachelor we've ever seen, and how to top the last guy and make all the right choices. So I do have respect for that. And it's sweet. He wish he could have saved anybody from getting hurt, but again, that's the nature of the show. I mean, there's only going to be one person that you end up walking away with if you're lucky. I mean, we haven't really seen a lot of that here lately, but I did kind of give Peter some points in my book. He's looking up a lot more than he was to me now.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. I think that, listen, he's single, he's moved to a new city, he's doing a new thing. Maybe he's just gonna do that final learning, growing, moving on, maturing, getting to a place that I think he hoped he was in, or maybe thought he was in when he signed on to potentially try to find a wife. I think he still had some more growing to do. Again, it's just someone from the outside sharing their opinion. And maybe the next time we see him in a relationship, that will be the one, because I certainly think he does want to be in love. He's made it very clear that this is something he hopes for himself. So we will continue to root for him on his journey to find his person. What do you guys make of this? Are you surprised by what he had to say? Do you think that it makes a lot of sense that producers have a kissing signal? Let us know in the chat what your thoughts are on this, because it's not every day, Mariah, that we get some behind the scenes info on what that producer relationship looks like, and we certainly talk about it a lot. So loving that Peter is at least giving us some tea. You mentioned we don't necessarily see a lot of Bachelor success stories these days, and we actually have some very exciting news, a wonderful update. After 4 years of dating and three postponed weddings thanks to the current global pandemic, Bachelor in Paradise's Raven Gates and Adam Gottschalk, I'm really not sure if I'm saying that right, and Adam tied the knot in an intimate ceremony on April 16th. So the two of them are officially married. Raven said, "We've been waiting for this day for a long time. I'm so happy to get married to someone I love so much." Adam echoed that sentiment, saying, "We are just so excited it's finally happening. We're going to have a wonderful future together." If you guys don't remember, they actually met back in 2017 in Paradise. They fell for each other very fast. Adam explains that he was attracted to her right away, and added, which I really think is interesting, Mariah, their relationship really started post-show. He said they came together and made it work. Rachel also talked about their relationship, saying, "We're so completely different in every way. He's type A, I'm laid back. He's a city boy, I'm a southern girl. But we have common values. I think our differences have made us better people." So really wonderful success story. I love an opposites attract story. And I love, this is like a personal theory that I have when it comes to success stories. I feel like the best stories in Bachelor Nation that really are in it for the long haul are the ones who come out of the show and they say, "All right, we kind of like each other. We think there's something here. Let's start like our relationship day one right now and give us a real chance to succeed," as opposed to coming out of the show and being like, "Okay, this is it. You're my fiance. We're going to be in it for the long haul. We're going to get married." Because that's just so much pressure to put on a relationship right at the start. But anyways, I could go on. What do you make of this? So happy for them. Love a success story.
Yes, I'm so happy for them. I've got to say, I've always been a Raven fan. I've always really, really liked her. I do think it's awesome that they found love. That's the beauty of it. It reminds us, like, yes, we love this franchise for the reason that there really can be a possibility to find love. And we haven't seen it so often in like last seasons, or multiple seasons like in the past. But it's nice, it's so refreshing to see when it really does work out, because it's such a unique way to meet somebody and a unique way to form a relationship with somebody. And I completely agree. I think the most successful stories are those that remove the pressure of like, we immediately have to be engaged and be, get married anytime, pretty soon here, and still continue to make our relationship very public to the world, because that's not exactly the case. I think it's so smart to just, we've shared this beautiful experience on Bachelor in Paradise or The Bachelor or what have you. But now let's see where we align in reality. So I think that is the key to success in these kind of unique circumstances. I couldn't be happier for them. And I think that's just what we needed, like in the bulk of all of this, like heavy Bachelor franchise controversy. I mean, it's every week we report on something new that is like less than favorable. So it's nice to just see someone or a couple that, you know, people really enjoy come together and make it work, especially having faced obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. And they're finally married. They've tied the knot and they had a beautiful little intimate wedding. So we love a success story.
We love a success story. That is so true, Mariah. You guys watching along with us, are these guys a forever success story, right? Do these two as a match feel like they're going to be in it for the long haul? We can add them to the running list of Bachelor couples that have made it. Let us know in the chat. I feel like we can. I certainly hope that we do see many happy years of their relationship to come. Last but not least, you guys, speaking of happiness in Bachelor Nation, it looks like there could be a new potential couple. I don't want to jump the gun. It's like very early days, but we have an interesting matchup that just met up for the first time, and that is Ivan Hall from Tayshia's season, who we loved, and Heather Martin, who of course just popped up in Matt James's season to shoot her shot. And then, you know, went home very quickly after that. A source exclusively told E! News that Ivan flew to San Diego over the weekend to celebrate Spencer Robertson's 31st birthday. And if you guys don't remember, Spencer, also a guy on Tayshia's season, didn't have too big of an arc. He and Ivan, I guess, have maintained a pretty close friendship since the show ended. And Spencer lives in La Jolla, California, which is very close to Heather's hometown of Carlsbad. So, not to get into the geography of it all, but he was in a, you know, similar location. They were able to meet up, make it work. They were spotted at Mavericks Beach Club on Friday night, and the source says they looked really cute together. I don't even know what to make of this, Mariah. I mean, yes, he was in the state, he was really close by, but like, who knew? Someone must have DM'd someone. I mean, I was not expecting to see these two together, but I think I'm into it. They're both really nice. They both deserve happiness. Where do we go from here?
Absolutely. I think they're both, I think I love them both. I never really thought of them together. I'm with you there. It's so interesting to see how people within the franchise, you know, they still hang out with each other. They form really good friendships, and then they meet other people, kind of like what we're seeing here. And you know, I can't think of another couple that has like linked up that really hasn't had any other ties aside from the fact that they are both affiliated with the franchise. I'm trying to think. So if you guys know, drop it in the comments. We can talk about it. But it's got to create some pressure too, right? If you start to explore, you just meet someone, you decide like initially, okay, yeah, I kind of like you, and then you're going to explore that. But before you can really do so, people are already talking about how you're hanging out and you looked really cute together and you could possibly be dating and there's a new fling, because that creates this pressure, right? When all you really want to do is the initial interview stage and kind of find out, okay, well, is this person a good applicant for my going on right now, which I feel like we all do when we start the dating game. You know, you kind of have like an interview process. So we'll see. I really like them. I think they're cute. I didn't see it coming, but I'm totally in full support of this relationship.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point, Mariah. Honestly, I'm so curious, like, did they want this to be totally incognito? Were they hoping that these, you know, images, obviously we're looking at them together, wouldn't actually get out or, you know, spark the media's attention? Because you're so right. This has got to be early days. This is probably a couple of friendly DMs exchanged back and forth. Right place, right time. Like, let's just meet up and see where it goes. And to constantly immediately attach to that a bunch of like, oh my God, we love them together. Could they be real? That definitely adds a layer that doesn't exist. Let's just say if two of my mutual friends were meeting up, you know, at a bar, they wouldn't have so many questions and interests right off the bat. It is totally unclear at this point how they initially came in contact, but we do know Bachelor Nation is, of course, a small world. He could have literally simply been tuning into Matt James' season and sent her a DM for all we know, right? Like, who knows? But the insider who revealed to E that they hung out actually says that this isn't going to be a one-time hangout if all things go well. If you guys remember, Ivan is from Texas, so there definitely would be some distance. But the source says they hope to see each other again sometime. So don't know exactly what that looks like. Don't know how serious that is. Don't know if that means as friends or as something more. But this is fun. I think this is really exciting. I think we're going to see probably, hopefully, some maybe more little cute moments in the future. Obviously, fans in Bachelor Nation are detectives, so we've confirmed they're following each other now. And whether it becomes a friendship or something more down the line, they're two wonderful people. And I just think it's great when we see the franchise leading to positive connections. That being said, chemistry-wise, knowing Ivan like we do, he's obviously very fresh in our minds from Tayshia's season. And Heather, do we see it? Is it like something that sparks us as two very compatible people that could end up being the real deal? What is your opinion, Mariah?
I really, really liked Heather. I've always been a Heather fan. I thought she was very, very sweet. And there's literally nothing to not like about her. I'm not as familiar with Ivan, but I do know that he's highly talked about. He didn't have any controversy surrounding him. People really liked him, just like people really liked Heather. You know, it's like two sweet people come together and you expect it to really work out. So they could be very compatible. But again, it's early days and they could just be trying to like feel each other out. Like, I kind of like you. I think you're attractive. We kind of get along. Like we have some chemistry there. So it's hard to say if it's the real deal this early on, especially like I feel like they hope to see each other again sometime. Sounds really vague and a little bit of uncertainty there. But again, we love a success story, especially in the Bachelor franchise.
Yes. Oh my God. So right. Early days, you guys, we pretty much know nothing other than they at least cheers that one drink there. So we'll keep you posted if anything more concrete emerges. And as always, we want to know what you think. Do you guys love the two of them? Do you love the two of them together? Are there any other dream Bachelor Nation couples? Like, I was just thinking, how fun would it be if we could just matchmake people from other seasons that we love and, like, guarantee we should vote people onto Paradise. That would be a way to do it. Fans, I feel like at this point, are so invested in people's lives. We want to couple up our favorites. All right, enough about that. We are going to get into our chat Q&A. So if you have sent a message in the chat, a question, a comment, concern if you have one, we're going to try to get to as many as we can right now. If you haven't sent your question our way yet, be sure you do, because we want to talk. You guys honestly know so much going on in Bachelor Nation. Sometimes we have to learn some stuff right from you. All right, kicking us off, Karen has tuned in. She says hello. Hello, Karen. Thank you for tuning in live with us. We love to connect with fellow Bachelor fans. There are so many of us. We've got to stick together and keep each other updated on the news because, Mariah, there's no shortage of it.
No, it's constantly coming in. This comment says, I just signed the petition. Wow. You and I were talking before we started filming, and we were kind of like, are we going to sign the petition? I don't know if I would go as far as to sign the petition, but I do have very, very strong opinions about it. So I applaud you for standing up in what you believe in. I don't disagree with that action. I really don't. I think it's going to be so interesting to see really those numbers continue to rise, because I think that they will. And, you know, what Netflix is going to do about it. I mean, God, it's really kind of a gamble for them at this point to continue pushing this show with all of these people who are just very unhappy about the possibility of it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I keep coming back to is, in theory, this show, on its simplest level, you would think Colton's Bachelor Nation audience would want to go and tune in to another show with a familiar face of Bachelor Nation. But Colton's Bachelor Nation audience also feels really passionately about Cassie. So until we get a little bit more of a, concrete stance on where we all feel about all of this, I don't know. It's definitely going to be tough. Let's see. We have another one from Christina. She says, my problem with this scenario is that Colton committed a crime and he is being handed a TV series, whereas Chris Harrison, her comment cuts off here, who has not, I'm assuming she's saying, committed a crime, maybe is taking some time away from the franchise, I'm going to infer is where her comment was going. Listen, I think this is one of those, we are not comparing apples to apples. We're comparing apples to oranges. These are two very, very different controversies, I guess, if you wanted to use that word. And I just don't think that it would be beneficial to kind of go down that path. I think at the end of the day, Chris has come forward and made very clear what he feels he needs to do, right? Based on all of the statements Chris Harrison has put forward, this work that he's doing, this time away, is something that he feels passionately about. So I'm pretty comfortable as someone who wanted Chris to, apologize, grow, learn from what happened, letting him put in that work and waiting to see what comes next. Colton, on the other hand, we did get an apology from him in the Good Morning America interview. We don't know what went on behind the scenes. And what we do know is that Cassie felt the need at one point in time to file a restraining order. And like she says in her comment, Christina here, that is a crime. So I definitely think that we as fans can have mixed opinions on Colton, and of course people have made it very clear they have mixed opinions on Chris, but since they are just very different things, I don't know. I think that everyone is, like you mentioned earlier, Mariah, everyone deserves a second chance. Everyone can learn, everyone can grow, but as fans we want to see people hold themselves accountable. So I guess if you want to compare the two, that's what I would say. I hope they both hold themselves accountable and get better from these experiences.
Of course. Anna Lee commented, I'm assuming DK stands for doesn't know. Peter doesn't know what he wants. His mom runs his life. We have gotten this type of comment multiple times on a Peter discussion. You're not wrong. Well, I don't know if she runs his life, but I will say it did very much appear to be the case back when it was his season, especially the after the final rose or the women's tell-all. I think that's when we saw her just like really mean mugging in the audience. So again, and time has passed, significant amount of time has passed since then. So I don't know if I think that Peter doesn't know what he wants anymore. I think especially after the time that's happened, his relationship with Kelly, that coming to an end, Peter does know what he wants. I think he wants love. Like he wanted to find a forever kind of love through that process of The Bachelor, and unfortunately it didn't happen. He thought that he could find that with Kelly. Unfortunately, it didn't happen because that's life. And I don't think his mom runs his life, but again, I don't know. We need to have Peter on here, and we need to just find out, does your mom run your life? How much of your life does she control after all?
Right. Does Barb filter your text? Does Barb create your calendar? How involved is she at this point? No, I love it. Carrie says, even we talk about Peter like he's a little boy. Listen, I am the first to cop to Peter's season absolutely exhausted me. I feel like I always am so quick to tease him. Like I said earlier, doing it from a place of love. I don't think we should ever hate on anybody. And I do think that this next chapter of his life is going to be really, really great. I just think, cards on the table, at least my standpoint as a viewer, when we watched that season, he really wanted to be ready to walk away from that show, engaged to his forever person, committed to being married. I just don't think he actually was in a place, even saying it now, I feel salty, but I just don't think he actually was in that place despite really genuinely wanting to be there. I have no doubt he's going to get there. He might be there right now. It just felt like he wasn't ready. That's the simplest way I would put it. It just felt like he wasn't ready.
He was like a kid in a candy store who just had too many options to choose from, and he chose everything. But eating too much candy, we all know, ends in disaster. So maybe we are. That was like a total child reference that I just associated him with. So sorry, Peter. I'm really working on this thing between us. This user commented, I love Raven and Adam. I hope the creepy doll wasn't at the wedding. Am I missing something? About a creepy doll?
I was just gonna say, there must have been a creepy doll in Paradise. I only watched that season on and off. I
Okay.
wish I had watched it more so I remember their love story, especially now that they're a success. Because I think they're so wonderful. But I don't know, Ramaya and I are gonna have to do a quick Google search and remember the origins of that doll story. But listen, I hope it's not there too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this user says Ivan has so much more depth than Matt. This is really interesting. God, I don't want to hate on Matt James, but Ivan had a lot of depth. He made it really far in Tayshia's season. He presented himself really well. Every time we, as an audience, through Tayshia, got some one-on-one time with Ivan, I always walked away from it feeling like, oh my God, I'm so impressed with him. He's got such a good head on his shoulders. He really knows what he wants. He's really mature. He's really ready for this. And they actually had some conversations that I was really happy made it onto the show, were a part of the series because they addressed some real issues and really kind of went to a real world kind of place, which we don't always see. And I think that's just a mark of two really mature people, really willing to go there. So I don't know, you guys, whether it's with Heather or whether it's with somebody else, I'm definitely rooting for Ivan. Whether it's someone in the franchise or not, he's going to find someone really great.
Jolene, you are so sweet, making our day. She commented, hello, ladies. You both are so beautiful. Keep doing a great job. Thank you. I napped. I took a nap like 30 minutes before I hopped on so I could be like fresh for you. So thank you, Jolene. You're a major day maker. Love that.
Yes, thank you for tuning in. Oh my gosh, the love. You guys are so wonderful. This user says, drop a like, you guys. Yes, we would love that. If you love Bachelor Nation, if you are enjoying these lives, go ahead and like this video. Okay, this user also shared, Cassie for Bachelorette would be interesting to watch, but I don't know if she'll be up for another round after her experience with Colton. You know what? I hadn't even thought of this. There's been conversations that have started about like, oh, maybe we can get our first gay Bachelor season if they bring back Colton. Obviously, people have many different opinions on that debate, but in terms of Bachelorettes down the line, yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not sure that Cassie is one of those people that I would put in the category of ready to 100% dive back into the franchise. We also have 2 Bachelorette seasons with 2 wonderful ladies already slated in front of us. So it might be a minute before we really truly dive into this discussion again. But I would watch. I mean, ultimately, I'm rooting for her. I would love for her to find love and get a second chance. And I think she would make an amazing Bachelorette. I mean, what do you think, Mariah?
Oh, for sure. I would have loved to have Cassie as a Bachelorette. I do remember like being really satisfied with the fact that Colton had chosen her and they had this what seemed like beautiful relationship. Little did we know. Maybe it was beautiful for a time. But yeah, I got to agree with this comment. I don't feel like she would be up for it. I mean, once you experience stuff like that, it's not that all men are like ruined for you, I don't think. But it's definitely hard to put yourself back out there, especially on a very public platform. I think she's over kind of having that part of her life constantly accessible to the public. So she's probably like scarred for life when it comes to being on that heavy of a platform, especially when it comes to her love life. Yeah, this comment says, wished Hannah Ann Sluss would give us, is that her name? Sluss? Would give a chance to find love. She's a sweet, beautiful young lady. Yeah, I liked Hannah Ann. I had no issue with Hannah Ann. I'm curious what her dating life is like these days. I think, didn't we once talk about it probably a while ago? She had started dating some like professional athlete, maybe? I want to say we talked about maybe, that. Yeah.
I do think that fizzled.
We'll
I
see.
do think that fizzled, but now that you've said that, Mariah, she's very secretive. Who knows what could be going on?
What she's got going on, I don't know. She is beautiful. She is very sweet. So I'd love to see her, find love. Maybe she'll go on The Bachelor in Paradise. I totally wouldn't be opposed to see Hannah Ann make another Bachelor debut.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking back to, I believe she stopped by the Ellen show right after all the craziness of Peter season, and at the time she like played it coy but was interested in Paradise. So feels like that was 100 years ago, but we haven't had a Paradise since then. So really, we never know. Okay, Heidi, she is filling us in on that doll story we can't remember. She says Adam had a mini-me doll. Oh man, I can't believe I don't remember this. When he first met whoever his Bachelorette was, I forget which season. Okay, so this was his when he was on the Bachelorette. Got it. Wow. Yeah, memorable, obviously. People are not going to forget a mini-me doll. And I think it's wise that he did not bring that with him to Paradise. And look, now he's married happily ever after. I hope that doll is nowhere to be found.
Yeah, probably a good move not bringing that, especially not bringing that to the wedding. It looks like a very classy event, and I feel like that may have toned it down a little bit. This comment says Mason Rudolph. Is that who we suspect Hannah Ann is dating?
Let's see. Yes, Mason Rudolph, football quarterback. Sorry, you guys. Not sports is not my thing. As I sit here discussing The Bachelor. Mason Rudolph. Just pulled him up. Handsome fellow. Totally worthy of Hannah Ann in the, simply based on looks department. Seems like he's very talented. But as far as I'm aware, I do not believe she is still linked to Mason Rudolph, you guys. We're going to have to dive in and do some Hannah Ann research, because I actually, now that we're talking about her in Paradise, I think she might be one of those faces we could see there. People loved her. She definitely had a tough ending to Peter's season, so we'll have to do an investigation into what she is up to. I follow her on Instagram, see a lot of floral arrangements. She's always hitting us with a really gorgeous appetizer plate. I feel like I'm learning so much from her. She's like the queen of all things girly and cute and entertaining. I mean, I want to go to a party Hannah Ann is throwing, but I don't feel like I know the tea on her love life. Maybe that's because there isn't any. We're going to investigate, you guys, and get back to you as soon as possible. Investigate. Yeah, just in case we're missing anything, you guys. There's a lot of people to keep track of in Bachelor Nation. I mean, it's Monday. We've already had a lot to talk about in the current news. I'm sure we're going to be doing this more throughout the week. So we will look into Hannah Ann and get back to you. All right, one last question we're going to answer before we wrap up today's stream. There's always things going on in Bachelor Nation, so we will be back here very soon. Mariah, I'm going to let you take this one.
Okay, Christina's comment says, do you think that the ratings will tank for The Bachelorette because of people protesting Chris Harrison's absence? I don't think the ratings will tank. I know that there are some diehard Chris Harrison fans out there who really think that he has been severely cheated. But if you're a diehard Chris Harrison fan, I would imagine, you got to understand and respect that this was his choice. He made this choice to step back. It's not that he made a choice to never return and to, let society just beat him. And this is a good thing. It's an opportunity for two amazing women to kind of step into that role, which is always a good thing. I don't think we have to look at it as a bad, this host who's been with the program for forever, since the very beginning, has been cheated out of his job. I think we can look at it as a positive. There's going to be two beautiful women stepping into an incredible role. So I hope that the show's ratings don't suffer. I don't think that they will. I think people will be interested to see kind of the structure of it and what changes they've implemented. So it'll be interesting to tune in for sure. And who knows? We don't know that Chris Harrison is out for good. He could very well just be taking just this time off and then returning better and badder than ever. So
yeah, I'm totally with you, Mariah, and don't want the Chris Harrison stance to come for me, because I get it. People totally love, when Tom Bergeron and Aaron Andrews left Dancing with the Stars, people were very upset. When a host of something for a long time leaves, it's difficult to process. But go with me here when I say, for just a second, what did he really do, right? There were some great Chris moments. There were some, funny moments. There were definitely some moments where he, was helpful to whoever the lead was over the years. I get it. I'm not saying he did nothing, but I am saying if you're a diehard Chris Harrison fan, you're probably a diehard Bachelor, Bachelorette fan. And if an incredible season is airing and the tea is hot and people are all over Twitter hyping it up, obsessed with the show, I don't know. I just don't think the ratings are going to take that big of a hit, because if you're a diehard Chris fan to me, you're still a diehard Bachelor fan, and these are two incredible women. And like you said, being led, at least for Katie's season, by two more incredible women that you, in theory, probably know and love. So, I don't know. I just don't think that many people are actually going to not show up to the party once it kicks off, if the seasons are any good. And we have a lot of really high hopes for these seasons. So, again, maybe that was controversial. Maybe there are some Chris stans out there with a level of loyalty that I'm underestimating. But I don't think the ratings are going to take too big of a hit. All right, you guys, with that said, that is all we have time for on today's live. We are going to be covering all things Bachelor Nation right here on Shared News all week long and in the weeks to come. So if you have not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and, of course, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. If we didn't get to your question, leave it for us down in the comments. We're going to be checking those out as well. As always, I am your host, Fiona Zaring. I was joined by the wonderful Mariah Davis. If you want to come say hi on our socials, you can follow me at Fiona Zaring. Mariah, where can they find you?
You can find me at Mariah Davis.
Amazing. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in live with us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.